The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, BJ Williams.
We have a great show for you today, including a talk with Joanna Carl and the Chocolate Bridal Bash, the latest in her chocolate mystery series. But first, Ruby Soutier and Julie Ballou would like to tell you about a cookbook you can check out at your library.
Today we're here to talk about the Twinkies Cookbook by Hostess. This book starts out with the history of Twinkies. They began in 1930s, they began production, and the reason that they started doing that was they wanted a snack that they could sell year-round, and so they had an overflow of shortbread pans, and so they started making Twinkies with these pans, and originally they were filled with banana cream filling, but during World War II there was a shortage of bananas, so they started using vanilla cream filling. And the creator, James Dewar, bragged that he ate 3 Twinkies a day for over 50 years, and he lived to be 88 years old. What did you think about this book, Julie?
Well, I thought this was a great book. It was a lot of fun. It is a perfect book to check out from the library because it is probably more of a novelty book than one that you would want to own yourself. There are some recipes in there that are a little bit unappealing. There's a chapter called Twinkies and Meat, which includes recipes like twinkling turkey, where you use the Twinkie cake to make stuffing and use the filling to glaze your turkey. And then there's a recipe called pigs in a Twinkie. I didn't think those were very appealing, but in general, I thought it was a lot of fun. There were some great novelty recipes in there. You tried some of them, didn't you, Ruby?
I just, for fun, tried making the recipe for Twinkie sushi, and you use a fruit roll-up and dried fruit, and you cut the Twinkies, and it really did look quite a bit like sushi. But forget about sushi. A coworker of ours named Marilyn Backus made this splendid Twinkie wedding cake, and it was just amazing. It was made with 27 Twinkies covered with fondant icing, and it's pretty impressive.
The cake is absolutely amazing. It's hard to believe that it's made with Twinkies. I think that's the best thing about this cookbook is that all the recipes are so much fun, they're so cute, and they would make perfect party food. The sushi, there's some Twinkie pedophores in there that are great. It's just a lot of fun. Today we've been talking about the Twinkie Cookbook, and you can find this book at your library or local bookstore.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
Doug Benton is with me, and he's clutching something in his hands which makes me believe he's been reading.
Yeah, it is a book.
It is a
I will
book.
say that. Yeah, with the release of the new movie called The Black Dahlia, suspect that people might be interested in learning more about the case from a nonfiction perspective. And the latest book on it is called The Black Dahlia Files by Donald Wolfe. This just came out last year. Wolfe says that some of the sealed evidence has been released by the district attorney's office in Los Angeles. He says there were 65 boxes. They cut that down to 35 and released 2. And so that was enough information, he thought, to write this new book in which he solves the case.
Oh, he does he?
He thinks he does. Now, here's the thing. Wolf's previous book was called The Last Days of Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, dear.
And it was a conspiracy-oriented book about the murder of Monroe. This book is also a conspiracy-based story. And I'm not really giving anything away because if you read the blurb on the jacket, it will tell you who Wolf thinks was the perpetrator of this crime. He's looked around, he's found somebody famous. You always have to find somebody famous when you do these things.
Well, if you're going to do conspiracy, what good is a conspiracy about somebody you've never heard of?
Never heard of before. And the conspirator, the leader of the group is Bugsy Siegel, the famous gangster.
Got Hollywood connections,
He's
right?
got Hollywood connections. I think the biggest problem here is that Wolf has 5 people on the scene when Elizabeth Short was murdered. Dozens more who knew about it but were involved in covering it up, and it's just hard to believe that that many people could have stayed quiet for so many years. The other thing I want to talk about, we've got a video from a series called Case Reopened, in which famous crime writers talk about popular murder cases. And in this one, Joseph Wambaugh, who was a former LAPD officer and a novelist, talks about the Dahlia case. And he says the most intelligent and, I think, likely thing of all when he says there's a reason that crimes like this go unresolved, and that is that they're random and that they're opportunistic. You know, it's a hard thing to say about this poor young woman, lovely girl, but she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and she struck up a conversation with the wrong guy.
Right.
You know, and
Yeah, when there's no connection between between the victim and the murderer, how can the police possibly trace it down unless they've got a witness to it?
right, or the guy, leaves fingerprints all over the place.
Or his driver's license.
Or something, which didn't happen in this case. Now, it's an interesting book. I sat down and read it in 2 sittings, all the time thinking that I'm not buying everything the guy is saying, but it was still a fascinating story because he talks so much about the corruption that was rampant in the Los Angeles Police Department. So it's not hard to believe that those guys, if they had known what was going on, were covering it up for a big shot in the city. But I don't find the evidence compelling in this. But it's The Black Dahlia Files by Donald Wolfe.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up next, we've got Kids Corner. Heidi Johnson will be talking with Kelly Rhea about a couple of books for our very youngest readers.
Hi, I'm here with Heidi Johnson. She's with Tech Processing. She loves kids' books, and today she's brought one by Amy Krauss Rosenthal called Cookies.
Yes, and the subtitle says it's bite-sized life lessons. And it was very intriguing to me. It's like, how many life lessons can you pack in a children's book? It's amazing. It brings the concepts of fair and unfair, of honesty, of helpfulness,
Patience,
modesty, and explains them in simple terms so that a child can relate to them, all while using cookies. And he talks about being honest is saying, okay, I'll share with you, oh, I had 2 cookies. I'll give you one of my 2 cookies instead of trying to hide your second cookie.
Well, and the one that I noticed too, just right offhand, was patient. That patient is when you're waiting for the cookies
to get
so,
done.
you know, a little child, a little 2-3-year-old doesn't really understand be patient now. That just means that you can't have what you want, but in this context.
Yeah, and it shows that, be patient and good things will come from it.
It was lovely, and
Yes.
the illustrations are by Jane Dyer, and they are like the old-fashioned golden books.
Yes, they are, and I think that's what really, the colors of it also, very soft and pretty, and a really attractive book, and it has a valuable lesson to teach
It's
to
fabulous.
everybody.
It's called Cookies, Bite-Sized Life Lessons. Now, the second book that you brought is called Tudley Didn't Know.
And Tudley is a turtle.
Yes.
And Tudley is a very unusual turtle because Tudley didn't know that turtles couldn't fly. So he was flying up with the hummingbirds one day. Also, Tudley didn't know that a turtle doesn't light up like a firefly. But he did it because he didn't know he couldn't do it.
Oh.
And it's a very beautiful illustrated story. It's also very heartwarming as Tutley helps out other animals and gets a reward in the end. And actually, Tutley also learns how to behave like a turtle in the process of imitating all the other animals' behaviors.
Oh, it's very fun and educational. It's by John Himmelman, and it has some descriptions in the back about these particular animals as well.
Well, you actually also get a nature lesson where it
Yes.
talks about their life cycle and where they live, what type of animal they are, what classification they're in.
And kids often have so many questions about
What does a frog do? Where does a frog live?
and why.
And why? Yes.
This book is called Tutley Didn't Know. It's by John Himmelman. The other is Cookies. We know that you'll love both of these. You can find it at your local bookstore or at your favorite library.
Hey, I've moved into the grown-up interviewer's chair here to talk with Anita Rossler. Hi, thanks for coming by.
Well, you're welcome. I love to come.
And we're going to talk about knitting and
Of
books
course.
about knitting. Anita knows more about knitting than the Doublemint twins know about chewing gum. So I won't say anything else that's likely to get us in trouble in the newspaper. But what have you got for us today?
Today we're going to talk about knitting socks. Now, you know, knitting itself has suddenly become very, very popular, but knitting socks is just, I don't even know how to describe it. And I've knit for over 30 years, but I've never tried to knit socks until about a year ago.
Was it hard? They seem like they'd be easy, but are they hard?
Well, they're more hard than easy.
Oh,
How's
okay.
that? Used to be you knitted socks, and a lot of people still do, on 4 or 5 needles. Little tiny needles, you know, like piano wire, and little bitty thread.
Yeah.
And then somebody came up with an idea of using 2 circular needles to knit one sock, because you have to knit them around and around, which is why you had to use the tiny needles. And I don't do the 4 tiny needles. I never wanted to do that. But then someone came up with a method of using one long circular needle, and I don't know if you can see this here. There's just one long needle, and see, they're pretty small needles.
Yeah.
And it's pretty small thread. And I'm knitting around and around, but I'm knitting half of it on one side and the other half on the other side. So I've always got this loop. It's called Magic Loop. And some of the books that we have a lot of books about knitting socks in the library. And some of them address this magic loop. We even have one book about crocheting socks. And I crochet too, and my personal preference is a knitted sock, but if you don't knit, you can crochet your own socks.
What's the difference?
Well, knitting is done, it's mostly the texture of the fabric
Oh,
that you
okay.
have. Knitting is done with 2 needles and is a much tighter weave than crochet. Crochet is done with 1 hook. You make some equally beautiful things, but they just have a different texture. One of the things about working with making the socks is what fun the yarn is. Because see, here's this ball of multicolored yarn, and it knits up into these stripes, self-striping. And then, oh, and you can also knit little tiny socks.
Now that's definitely a Christmas sock.
That
right?
is a Christmas tree ornament,
Yeah.
yes. And I've also knitted little tiny mittens and little tiny sweaters for Christmas tree ornaments. But
Well, you brought some
anyhow,
books there. What are some of the books that we have?
Okay, we have knit socks. It's on the freeze frame, I think.
Okay.
This has a lot of really good general patterns. Really, really excellent patterns that are simple and easy to follow. And then this book has a lot more complicated things in it.
Okay.
Some intarsia, which is knitting with color, and Fair Isle.
Okay. Well, so you'd probably want to start with knit socks
I would think knit socks would be a really good one to
and
start
go
with.
from there.
Yes,
Anita, thank you for coming on the show and
You're
talking
welcome.
some more about knitting.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Hi, Colin. Thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't you tell us about your book, and would you recommend it to your friends?
The Ranger's Apprentice is a book that is very exciting. It's action-packed. It's a page-turner, and I would recommend this to my friends.
Have any of your friends read it yet?
I've had 2 or 3 of my friends read it.
Yeah, I know I really enjoyed it, and I actually went right out and recommended it to a bunch of people because it was really such a good book. Has the author written any more books?
He's written the next book of the series, The Burning Bridge. There are 2 more books after this, so.
Okay. Have you read the second one?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it just as good as this one?
Yes, it was.
Great. So tell me a little bit about this book. What's it about?
This is a book about Will, who is an orphan, and Halt, the ranger, takes him in as his apprentice. And so he thinks it's just going to be something he didn't want to do because he wanted to go to battle school. But after a while, he gets to like it, and then he gets the chance to go to battle school, but he doesn't want to.
What do the Rangers do?
The Rangers are kind of like the special forces for the king. They're
Okay.
spies, sort of.
Okay, great. What did you particularly like about this book?
I like the suspense.
Yeah.
It's really good.
You didn't know what was going to happen?
No,
Kept
he
you guessing?
keeps you guessing.
Yeah. Great. So who's the central character? Tell me a little bit more about
There
Will.
are 2 central characters, Halt and Will. They're
What's Will about?
Will, he just starts out thinking that he's not going to like anything about it, and then they go and they start having a lot of fun. Then after a while it gets dangerous, and then Will saves the day.
Okay. What about Halt?
Halt is Will's teacher, and Will's always looking for a smile of approval, but Halt doesn't smile very much or anything. And after a while, Halt starts to like him too.
Okay. So Halt's kind of mysterious,
Yeah.
but he's the teacher at the same time. Were there any other characters in the book that you liked?
I like Horace. He went to battle school. At first, he kind of fought with Will when they were smaller, but after a while, they start to respect each other.
Yeah. There was one scene that I really liked in there where they fight the wild boar. Did you like that one too?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Whenever the boar comes out.
Yeah. There's a lot of minor characters that kind of, they tell the story separately. Are they still in the second book?
Yes, they
Okay.
are in the second book.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this book, Colin. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You just saw Colin Thurnbrough, one of our teen volunteers for summer reading this last summer, talking with Emily Williams about a book he's just read. And now for my guest, Eve Sandstrom is a well-known Oklahoma writer. These days she's writing under the name Joanna Carl, and she has written a very successful series of books that have to do only a little bit with mystery and dead people, but mostly chocolate. And the most recent is the Chocolate Bridal Bash, but you've been writing these for a couple of years now, haven't you?
Well, I guess 6 years because
years.
there's usually one a year, and this is the 6th one to come out.
Now, these are situated in more northerly latitudes of the United States. Now, is this a place that you have to visit in order to make sure that you have the streets running in the right direction?
Well, actually, the town in the books, Warner Pier, is my town. It's fictional. I always like a fictional spot because then if I want to move things around and have the streets going a different way, it's all right. But my husband's family has owned a cottage for 100 years in this resort area on Lake Michigan. And so we have gone there. He thinks that's the only possible place to spend a vacation. So we have gone there now for more than 40 years. It's a beautiful area. It's on the lake. It's an art colony. What's not to like? When I wanted a small town setting in a small town that could afford to buy $40 a pound chocolates, it popped to mind. There are a lot of well-to-do and even famous people have cottages there, summer cottages there.
Well, it sounds like a really neat place. You say that it is a Victorian place, and other than lovey, it is pristine in its Victorianness. Lovey is in the Chocolate Bridal Bash, she does play somewhat of a pivotal role in all of this, but we're really concerned with the young lady. She and her bridegroom both have marriages in the past. She's obviously been tripping. How do you find so many dead bodies in such a small resort town? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just like Jessica Fletcher. Nobody would ever ask her to dinner. She falls over a dead body everywhere she goes. It is, suspension of disbelief is the whole basis of fiction. And in this case, if you like this kind of mystery, you're going to be disappointed if they don't find a body in every book. But I quite agree. This small town is kind of the inspiration for this one, not the basis, but the inspiration. I'm sure they haven't had 2 murders in the last 10 years. And my heroine, Lee McKinney, and her fiance, Joe Woodyard, have to find at least one in every book. So no, it's not realistic, but for people who like this kind of book, that's what they want.
Well, now this one in particular, we're coming up on the wedding, and our heroine finds that her mother really doesn't want to come back to the town she grew up in, and this leads. She can't leave that alone, can she? That is a mystery in and of itself. And it just grows and grows until her mother disappears. And she really does have to take action. So, I mean, how can you get married if your mom's not there, right?
Well, I think actually Lee got married without her mother there the first time, and that didn't work out so well.
Right. So, now, is Lee modeled on anybody in particular?
Well, I always say, Lee is 6 feet tall and a natural blonde with green eyes, and was a finalist in the Miss Texas competition. So, and she's an accountant. She's good at figures. So, of course, it's obvious she is based on me.
Of course.
But actually, I have a daughter who is a CPA, and I have another daughter who at one time worked for a chocolate company. So they help me a lot. In fact, Betsy still vets all the chocolate things. My daughter, who is a CPA, she is quite an intelligent young woman, and she is an attractive, and believe it or not, she is blonde. And her friends, however, say she's the epitome of the blonde joke type, because she has this trick that I've given Lee of getting her tongue twisted. And she'll say the funniest things and not know she's done it. And I thought for a detective this was a really good trait, because she doesn't seem as intelligent as she is. People are continually underestimating Lee, and they don't underestimate my daughter very much, but she, that little trick with using the wrong word does get a laugh, and it's...
Well, I think it lightens the books up quite a bit. I mean, chocolate has got to lighten them up. Even though it has the opposite effect on our bodies, it really does lighten up a book a lot. But when Lee gets her sentences all twisted up, I think that adds just an extra dimension to the whole thing. And I believe you start right out with the chocolate bridal bash, but she's so flustered that her mom said, "No, I don't want to come," that it just sort of goes downhill from there.
Well, my favorite is, I think in the first book, the cat caper, the chocolate cat caper. The chocolate has to be in every title, of course. She meets a detective and an assistant whose name is Underwood, and it's obviously that he is the junior officer, and so as she leaves, she says, "And nice meeting you, Detective Underling." Right. And that's the sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there were quite a few puns on the runaway bride and fleeing the scene and that sort of stuff to set the scene for the bridal bash. Now, Lee has come back home after this failed marriage. She's moved in with her Aunt Nettie, who is actually the chocolatier.
Well, I did that. Actually, Lee is a Texan. She was raised in a fictional town in North Texas. Her mother and father were divorced when she was 16, so she finished high school and lived for about 10 years in Dallas. Her mother was from this town in Michigan, and she was sent up there as a teenager when her parents were having problems to work for her aunt in the summer, and so she's never really lived in this town permanently before. And I'm a Southwesterner, and I simply was afraid I would get the attitudes and the nomenclature and things wrong if I approached it from the viewpoint, and these books are first person, so if I approached it from the viewpoint of a real Michigander.
Right. Well, and certainly that gives her an opening to ask all kinds of questions because she is, even though she's got deep roots in the town, which is very important, she can ask a lot of questions. Now, the Chocolate Bridal Bash, the Chocolate Frog Frame Up, what is the one that's coming up next?
Well, I'm about to finish up. I have to finish up quickly, and one that's going to be called the Chocolate Jewel Box. Oh, I'm sorry, the Chocolate Jewel Case. And it's about antiques and the robbery of a collection of antique jewelry.
That sounds great, and I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Eve Sandstrom writing as Joanna Carl. When you look for the books at your library or your bookstore, remember Joanna Carl. It's the Chocolate Bridal Bash is the one that is available now, and we hope you'll come back and tell us about the jewel heist. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
Well, Doug is back, and that means it's Writer's Almanac time. I'll bet you've got a date or two.
I do. September 29th, 1547. I know, cast your mind back. It's the birth date of author Miguel de Cervantes, the author of one of the great iconographic novels from the Western canon, Don Quixote, in which he said that honesty is the best policy. And George Carlin added then, well, I guess that by the process of elimination, dishonesty must be the second best policy.
Right. Well, I have a couple of dates too.
Yeah.
In 1789, on September 25th, Congress proposed the Bill of Rights, which was later ratified by the states and still protects us today. And then on September 28th, in 1918, a little offensive began in World War I. I just mention it because both of my grandfathers were involved in that. Didn't lead for them to anything really good. Thanks very much for being with us, and we'll see you again next time.